Highlights from the season finale in the Formula 4 Rookie Cup would get to a bad start for Villa Cravey straight away. A jump start from third position in that blue car. Meanwhile, the top two in the championship would battle it down in the first corner. Around the outside of that first turn, Enzo Filipao would go. The inside for the second part of the Centre-S and the outside all the way around Curva de Sol. Onto the Reta Aposta and down towards Desquito de Largo. It was the move around the outside, but a bit of contact from Bo Dixon, who was on his inside, that would create a three-wide bit of action off of the corner. It would be Sven Mackenberg to the outside, Schott getting to the inside, trying to find his way through, and Enzo Filipao would hang on to second. Schott with the inside line, trying to get past Sven Mackenberg immediately, would have to go around the outside of the long left-hander. He wouldn't be able to do so. Sven Mackenberg would be able to hang on. Meanwhile, his brother Marvin Mackenberg was coming into a few troubles, and he would be spun around down towards the back of the pack. He would go. A bit of a mistake from Sven Mackenberg out wide coming out of the final real corner at Junchao, and he would lose the position to Schott, who would get his way up into third, but the top two were clearing away. Looking back from Villa Cravey, you get a little bit of a tap on the rear end from Kusnar, who would go for a spin, dropping down the hill, literally ping-pong into everyone, unable to hold the brakes, and everyone was making contact. Enzo Filipao was going for the race lead, though. He'd get to the inside, coming around Ferradura. It would just give him the inside for the braking zone coming into the seventh corner on the circuit, and he would take over the race lead from Bo Dixon. Towards the back end of the top 10, Hendricks was making a move on Vandenbrie, got to the inside at the first part of the Centre-S, but then Vandenbrie made it stick through the second. At the back end of this, Schubeck, who we're on board with here, would pick up two positions in one corner. Hendricks out wide going through turn 4 and 5, and then Demolke just not with a good line off of the corner, and Schubeck would pick up both. Villa Cravey would be into the pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty for jumping the race start. Meanwhile, the battle for third was getting closer and closer. Sven Mackenberg all over the rear end of Schott. Still no way to make his pass. Around the outside of turn 4, as they would race their way off the corner, Schott would roll his way out towards the white line and stop the potential position loss. The race lead was also extremely close. Bo Dixon on the rear end of Enzo Filipao. No way for him to make a move stick at the moment. Halfway through the race and still just sat to the rear end. Someone who wasn't content with sitting there, Sven Mackenberg once again to the outside of Schott. Both of them running wide going through Desquito de Largo, and another attempt of a move going down into that corner into turn 4 was Bo Dixon finally having a bit of a look down to the inside. Enzo Filipao though with a superior line, superior traction, superior speed, and would hang on to the race lead. Ward was trying to grab a position inside the top 10 off of Schieferdecker, would look to the inside in through the first corner. There'd be contact between the two. It would allow Borzok to come through, as well as the recovering Marvin Mackenberg and Renault, who had a poor qualifying session, and so that was the issue for Ward. Back up to the battle for the podium, the inside line being taken by Sven Mackenberg, but these two between Mackenberg and Schott, they were side by side through the entirety of the central section of the Interlagos circuit. An absolutely brilliant display of racecraft, but Schott was still able to hang on. A bit of a mistake from Guides going into the final real corner at Junchao. He'd go for a spin, would lose out a couple of spots. Speaking of good racing, there was this between Schubeck and Vandenbrie. A little bit of side-by-side with the up and under from Schubeck to pick up the spot. They'd both get past Guides, who was having that spin directly ahead, but Vandenbrie was trying to fight for it back. A bit further down the order, Schieferdecker was trying to grab back inside the top 10 with a move down the inside of Borzok, but unfortunately he would go for a spin. Meanwhile, for the podium, it was all starting to heat up. Schott out massively wide in the braking zone, would get back to the inside of Sven Mackenberg. The battle for third was firing all cylinders, and then watch this from Schott around the outside, locking the rears, almost a proper karting move to take back third position. The drag race to the line between Bo Dixon and Enzo Filipao would go finally the way of Filipao, who would take his first victory of the season.